and God. It was one-on-one. There was no interruptions. There was nothing to distract from the relationship that was there. It was a perfect union. See, my message tonight, I was thinking about this, and there was a lady that I looked up to for many years, and she preached a message that has never left me. Her name was Nona Freeman. And I remember when I was a child, I believe I was about 8 or 9 years old, she preached a message. And she preached it. It was a simple thought that Jesus, I have a friend. That was her title. I have a friend. And in that message, she related so many miracles that God had performed. But in the middle of all the miracles that God performed, she began to look at God as some great exalted one. That this one that she would pray to, but he was way above where she was at, he was almost to the point where he couldn't be touched because he was so great and so magnificent. And don't let me take away from the fact that God is great and God is magnificent, and that He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and He is everything. He is my all in all. He is everything I will ever need. It exists and it is in Him. But the reality is that God desires so much more. Yes. He desires an intimate relationship. He desires something more than just a passing conversation with His children. He desires and seeks out a relationship. Yes. But that relationship is predicated on our prayer life. Yes. That whole concept of Jesus being my friend is where we have to understand the concept of prayer. Sometimes we get a preconceived idea that we have to have prayer, and we have to say the perfect things, and we have to read the correct scripture, and we have to go through the motions just exactly in a sequence of events to make prayer effective. But in reality, prayer is none of those things, and it is all of those things. Yeah. And what I mean by that is sometimes I don't go into prayer with a preconceived idea of how I'm going to enter into that prayer time. Yeah. Sometimes it's just me and God, and I'm going through it. Yeah. And sometimes it's just me saying, God, I don't understand. Yeah. And that's how my prayer starts out, is God, I don't understand. Yeah. Why am I going through this? Why am I dealing with this? Why? Well, okay, should I have entered in a different way? No, because in that moment, I needed to talk to my friend. Sometimes it's just opening up and bearing your soul to God in a way that is unique to only you. Yeah. Because only you can pray your prayer. That's right. I can never pray your prayer for you. That's right. Because see, you're not walking in my shoes. No. And I'm not walking in yours. Right. I don't know what you're struggling with. I don't know what you're dealing with. I don't know what your trial is. Yeah. But I know there's an answer. Yes. And that answer is finding a place in Jesus. Amen. See, he said there's something about finding a place in prayer. David understood that when he found that intimacy with God, that he would hide him under the shadow of his wing. Yeah. That all the world could be turmoil, and all the world could be going through just horrendous things, but I have hope. Yes. Because I have Jesus Christ. I have hope because I can pray and I can have faith in a God that is going to take care of me. See, I don't just serve a God that is of stone. I don't serve a God that sits there and is unmoved by my emotions. I don't serve a God that sits there and is unmoved by what I'm going through. But rather, He is seeking out for us to call on Him when we're going through something. He's seeking out, just saying, I'm standing here waiting for you to do something to bring me into your situation. Yes. What brings Him into our situation is our prayer. Yes. It's when we release our control and give it truly unto Him. Amen. It's all about relationship. Sometimes communicating with God seems almost a difficult thing because we think it's got to be a certain way and we expect certain things to happen. Well, sometimes I pray and I don't feel a whole lot. I know nobody else in here has ever felt that, so I'll be transparent. And I will tell you that I have been times that I have prayed time and time again and felt that God was not there. But in reality, that's when God was doing the greatest work in my life. It's when that I wasn't hearing His voice the way I normally hear His voice. But I had a grave need that I needed an answer from God.
Yeah.
And God did not answer me the way I thought He would answer me.
Yeah.
But no, He came in another way.
Yeah.
And He showed me something inside of me that needed to change.
Yes.
Because I had selfish motives and selfish ambitions in my prayer.
Yeah.
But through it all, I learned that still small voice that He was trying to speak to me, I couldn't hear because of my own pride,
Yeah.
my own arrogance, my own ambitions. There's something about the praying the will of God. Make sure you realize and trust the fact that when you pray that, you truly mean it.
Yeah.
Because when you pray the will of God be done in your life, it may not go the direction you thought it would go in.
That's right. That's true.
2 years ago, I would have never told you that I would ever leave the state of Maryland and go to a place called Little Rock, Arkansas. But I prayed and God told me to go.
Yeah.
And I said, God, are you sure? He said, you prayed my will, didn't you? Yeah. Maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to do at the time. But yeah, I did. He said, okay, you need to go. And I said, okay. I thought Utopia was in Little Rock, Arkansas. I thought angels would sing, and I would see wings flapping, and then miracles would happen, and all of a sudden I would see God's will. But in all honesty, I went into another trial. I went from one trial to a different trial. And I said, okay, God, you said I was going in your will. Then why don't I have a job? I had a job all lined up. I got there and they said, there's no job for you. We're so sorry. I said, okay. I prayed God's will. We're here. I just moved my family all the way to a house that was 800 square feet. And that is no joke. We lived, 7 of us, in an 800 square foot home that only had actually one closet. And I said, God, it's still your will. I prayed, I fasted, and it was your will. And then I went through a different trial. And I said, okay, I don't have a job. 5 months goes by, I still don't have a job. I'm out of money. We don't have groceries. I haven't had that problem. Honestly, God had taken good care of us. And I said, okay, God, I have faith. I'm going to do what you tell me to do. I'm going to have faith. And then I get a knock on the door. Family that I don't even know very well. I've just met them maybe one time. Knocks on the door and hands me an envelope. Crying as he goes out the door. And I don't know why this man's crying. He handed me an envelope and cried and left. But I said, okay. I ran back to the room and I handed it to my wife. I didn't even open it. She opened it. There was $1,000 in the envelope. That took care of all of our bills and took care of our groceries. Right after that, God says, give your car away to somebody. I had a nice car. I love my Grand Marquis. I love that car very much. But God said, give it to this lady that doesn't have a vehicle. And I said, okay. God. Walked in, told my wife, I'm giving her car away. She said, okay. Gave it away. And I prayed. I said, God, you're going to take care of us. You brought us here. You ordained it. You're going to take care of us. I could go on and on, but we got a $10 car that we drive, and it's an Expedition. We paid $10 for it. Yeah. It's in the shop tonight, but we paid $10 for it. But see, God ordains everything for a reason. What I said all that to say this, is if you're really going to pray God's will, understand that your prayer means something. Yeah. The words that come from your mouth, God has faith in also, because He expects you to live up to your end of the bargain. Yeah.